Okay, so level 5. Why are these things level 5? Because they have or they can have a big impact on how you do your life. So, for example, the challenge I have, I need to find more inspiring environments. I work a lot of from home. And for example, a cafe around the corner or some standard environment, it doesn't do the trick anymore for me. I know them all by heart. So I'm thinking about doing longer weeks off into different locations, perhaps buy a small cottage somewhere where I can relax. But I think I will encounter the same challenge then there. So I might rent different places. I want to challenge my brain. I want to challenge myself. I want to live life more fully. So this is just an example of this level of flow-induced states. Not, of course, only for flow. They help with deep work. They help with me wanting to connect with all these different cultures in different regions. So it has a ton load more benefits. Of course, the downsides are I cannot be with my family. I don't have my own personal gear with me, all that stuff. But I will need to find a balance there. And I think that's the gist of this level. It's very unique. It depends on the person's time, on the person's mood, etc. So figure out which ones of these triggers, which came from research which we share in the further readings, are triggers for you. What I wanted to talk about is the amount of risk. So when you are under pressure, the biggest chances are that you need to trigger into flow state, because flow state might be the one thing that pulls you through. Flow state is where, I will add certain videos later, but flow state pushes you beyond the best version you already are in your regular state, so to say. So increasing more risk in more pressure pushes you out, and this is how you exceed your limits, by searching for your limits. So search your limits. In that way, obstacles are the way. So your obstacles are the way. If you have no idea where to go to, head towards your obstacles. Those are the ones that you need to tackle, and they will release and push you through onto the next phase. So definitely increase the risk appetite in your life. Don't listen to your brain in this department. Make your brain following and not leading, because your brain will try to protect you. Your brain will act as the overcaring mother, and the overcaring mother, in other words, playing it safe, is not always the optimal strategy. It's the basic default strategy of your brain, and it's simply not always the best option. Working 50 years for one single employer is safe. Well, it won't be safe nowadays with a fast-changing environment. Not doing certain sports might be deemed safe, but if that results to you hanging into a couch, or what, I don't think, or saving your money on a bank, it's literally called safe. Well, it might not be that safe. You might have better invested that in certain assets, because due to the fact that it erodes with every year due to inflation, for example. So at risk, how can you do that? Finding your obstacles. Also, get into this unpredictability, aka get into environments where you might get surprised. So instead of working from home, I could work into a certain environment with a lot of people, or where spontaneous things can happen. It can be in a cafe, can be in a public place, can be at the university, can be everywhere. We talked about most of these other things. Novelty is an important one, new routes, new ways. But I do want to emphasize, search for risk, search for novelty, search for unpredictability. And you can imagine this is a higher level game, because this can go wrong as well. So too much risk, it might not. Well, sometimes the overcaring mother is right. So find your personal balance. Listen to the inner voice. The inner voice knows best. Also, take well-intended advices at heart, but don't blindly follow them. Yes, so other people can't hear your tune. You will know what's right and what's wrong for you. And they are just giving their perspective from their balance in that certain moment of time. But their balance is different than yours. Okay, so save these triggers for when you need them most. In general, you can create the flow state with all these other tools and gimmicks that we gave you. Just save them if you really can't get into flow state. Then move. For me, for example, if I'm really drained, I can still move for a week or two to a different exotic location where I get inspired by the surroundings, so to say. Also, try to get less input, more output. So in some cases, you have to balance between being wowed, being mesmerized. For example, me sitting at my rooftop sometimes, I feel like, okay, wow, this really inspires me. But also the vision inspires me because I get less input. It is just, I can see as far as I can, so to say. But there aren't all these things, no walls coming at me, no clutter. It's the same concept when you walk on the beach, for example, and you stare into the endless sea. There is not much input, just the breaking of the waves, and therefore you are able to create more output. So less thinking, less input, more doing, more output. I think these final ones I talked about immediate feedback. I want to emphasize that again. Make sure that you get immediate feedback. So be aware of that. So if you are typing, become aware, like, okay, the feedback is my typing. If you're running, it feels like, okay, would you aim for the runner's high? Try to search for recognizing points that you know that you are into a flow. Look for these character traits. To summarize it, to conclude, embrace clear goals that will have your laser focused attention, but also combine it with this open, aware environment. So you're aware of the playing field, but focused on the ball. So you are aware of the sea, but focused on the waves that are coming. There will always be waves. So if you miss a wave, if you miss a flow, wait, be patient, do some stuff that needed to be done, some minor tasks, and wait for the next waves. Make this productive. Make it count, so to say. Prioritize this immediate feedback. So better be sure how to recognize a big wave when it's coming. Better be sure how to recognize ideal snow conditions, or how to recognize a certain pattern in the play of a poker player. Learn to recognize these things and how to take advantage of that. Advantage being you, or in this case, winning money from a player or riding a big wave. So avoid setting tasks too high. Don't ride the waves that you can't wave. Don't go into the black slopes from skiing if you are just a beginner, blah, 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 blah. And don't overuse these flow triggers. The more you use them, the more they diminish their power, so to say. But so for example, an alt-inspired environment, that too will become basic. Novelty is the key there. So this is a great power, this flow power. Realize that it comes, there it is, the Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility. It is, in short, your unique balance. Try to combine these triggers, how to activate them in a way that they work for you, but restore your balance. And for some, for example, they might have a very large risk appetite. Others might be really risk averse. Search how much do I have to increase my risk? How much do I increase my novelty? What works for you? Of course, you can listen to other tips and tricks, but you will know where to find it. Again, the obstacle is the way. Focus your flow towards that, and then you will see that you're breaking your comfort zone and that you're growing beautifully the way you should grow. And let me fix that or finalize. Definitely watch the video that we have in the additional clips at coils.world.